Most men use GHK-copper wrong because they're mixing evidence from different routes. And this is where smart and most men get trapped, because the more advanced something sounds, the easier it is to assume that the decision to take it is advanced too. The problem with GHK copper is not that it's fake. The problem is you have different evidence levels for different forms. So you take evidence from skin creams, from tissue recovery, from wound healing, and you bake it all into one. And then you pick whatever you want and then justify the route that you've pre-planned yourself. If you want the simple filter for this, you can download my free peptide overview guide. It's going to be the first link in the description. You should probably use that before touching any compound. And by the end of this video, you'll understand what GHK copper actually is, why the topical evidence is interesting, where the injectable claims jump too far, and the decision filter that I would personally use before making any type of decision. My name is Rafael Al-Najjar. I'm a medical doctor specializing in men's hormonal health, fertility, and performance. And my work is not about helping men avoid disease. My work is bridging that gap so you can focus more on improving your performance. And that's always asking about whether your physiology actually supports the life you are accustomed to living and the life you want to live, especially in regards to your libido, your energy levels, your sleep quality, your strength, and your body composition. And with peptides, that discussion becomes very advanced very fast. Now, if we look at the screen, a better question is not does it work? It's does it make sense for me and my lifestyle? Here's the pattern that I see. A man might start with a real goal. He wants to improve his skin. He wants to have thicker hair. Maybe he wants to improve his joints, or he feels he has inflammation all over his body. And then he reads about peptides and maybe he finds GHK copper and it sounds like the cure of all of his diseases. And then he watches a bunch of videos on YouTube that tells him that first of all it's natural and second of all it's safe. But what does that even mean? Because it could truly be the most versatile peptide that we have. But what claim are you actually looking at? Right? What claim are you looking at? Is it for skin appearance, where you are looking at a visible local outcome? Are you looking for wound biology? Here you have a specific repair context. Then you have the most advanced one, right? The systemic recovery. This is a much heavier claim. And so you might have the same molecule name, but you will have different standards of proof for any of these outcomes. And then your second question will be through what route, right? Is it topical? Is it oral? Is it injectable? Or is it some type of blend? All of these will also have different layers of evidence needed before they even make sense. And once you see that, the next question becomes obvious. Because why did this peptide get so much attention in the first place? The truth is, GHK copper is biologically very interesting, but it doesn't mean that you should have a public protocol for it. Now, GHK is made up of 3 amino acids, glycine, histidine, and lysine. And then when you put copper with it together, you will have the GHK copper complex. So the peptide forms a copper complex, and that copper complex is probably the main reason that it gets so much attention for skin repair and wound healing. In the literature, the strongest public-facing signals are around collagen, elastin, and fibroblast-related biology. And basically, that means it should work in some type of repair pathway, because these repair pathways are what makes GHK copper interesting in terms of looking at the tissue repair signaling. But the truth is, biology is deep, because interesting biology is step 1, but clinical decision is step 4. If we take the race car analogy, now if you watch Formula 1, you would know that in racing, you have different tires, but more or less you will always have the same type of roads. And different tires are used for different weather conditions, or if a tire needs to stay longer because you have to drive more laps. And so your goal might be good, but again, just like with the Formula 1 cars, the context decides whether you're using the oral route or an injectable route. Just like if you're going for soft or hard tires. Because you should look first at the mechanism. Does it make sense? Then the human signal. Do we have any data on this in humans? Then the route-specific evidence, again, oral, injectable, blend, how are you going to take it? And then the decision for every single man in particular. And so this is where GHK copper becomes a very good teaching example, because this is where most men don't really care. This is us talking about the evidence ladder. And this is the exact part most of these peptide videos they skip. And so obviously remember, this is not medical advice. This is only for information and education only. But this is how I would look at the evidence ladder and the decision filter in general. I would always look at cell and mechanism data first. Does it make sense mechanistically from the way we know that the body works? Do we have animal or wound model data? Do we have human-facing topical signal? And then what's the route-specific clinical decision that we have to make here? And so the clinical decision, it's the boring questions. These are the questions we have to ask. And the first one is always, which problem are we trying to solve here? Is it skin quality? Is it hair? Is it recovery? Is it tissue repair? Or is it just a vague feeling that you need repair? What is it that we're trying to solve here? And then obviously we have to look at the situation with medications, medical history, the whole context around every single person. To make the decision, does it even make sense to go through with this? Because the usable filter is looking at mechanism, human signal, and then decision, right? Does the biology make sense? What do we actually see in people? This is the human signal. And then the decision at the end. Does this fit the man, the route, and the risk that we are taking with this? This is the most common issue I see. People, they look at the mechanism and then go straight to the checkout page and think, now all my issues are solved. That's simply not true. That's also one of the reasons that I've created the free peptide overview guide. It's the first link in the description below. That will tell you mechanistically what makes sense and how should you think about any of these peptides that are floating around on the internet. And if you're thinking, fine, what are the risks? Can't I just try it? I have to tell you, that's probably one of the worst plans to have, because this is part of one of the most dangerous mistakes that men make. It's the hype transfer. So what is that? This is when one route of evidence gets moved on to the next without any proper medical data behind it. So to put it simply, this is looking at the topical cream and saying that the injectable will work exactly the same way. Because I've seen countless times where people will say, the topical, if it works like this, then the injection will do even better. And it's going to have systemic effects. Because what we see is that skin-facing and topical evidence can be good, but what gets sold is the broad injectable optimization around all of this. And the data is simply not there in the same sense. And so the mechanism to purchase is very dangerous, because the mechanism should lead to questions. It shouldn't lead you to a checkout page where you believe that now all of my issues are solved. I've said this in other videos and it applies perfectly here, because the intervention is never the strategy in and of itself. Because a peptide is a tool. You have to look at the man, the whole context, take a holistic approach, and then understand and make the decision afterwards if it makes sense to use this tool. Have you thought about the foundation? The diet, the exercise, the sleep, the stress management? What about the medical history or the meds in general? So if you're looking at GHK copper and thinking it looks good, maybe you should take a step back and ask yourself, what bottleneck are you actually trying to solve? Because if the bottleneck is poor sleep, if it's poor recovery, if it's chronic stress, low energy, if it's no libido or no spontaneous morning erections, so your little friend down there doesn't wake up in the morning like he's supposed to, then you're simply running away from the real work that lies in the foundation that you have to focus on first. Because adding the peptide, adding this tool may make you feel like you're doing something proactively, but honestly, you're probably just pushing away what you need to do in the first place. And if you have all the foundation on point and all this makes sense and you've done all that and you have someone to supervise you, yeah, then a peptide can work for sure. I'm not against peptides. All I'm saying is that you have to have your baseline, your foundation on point before you start using some of these more advanced tools. And I say this because this is the exact part that nobody wants to put on a checkout page. And so now the final piece is the filter. If you don't remember anything else, just remember this. Before you take GHK copper seriously, run these 3 questions. The first one being, what is the claim, right? Name the outcome and don't just behind repair or anti-aging. Are you looking for skin appearance? Is it wound healing? Is it tissue recovery? What are you trying to solve for? Second, what's the route? Are we looking at topical, oral, injectable, microneedling? Are you looking at a blend, or are you looking at a clinical wound setting? Again, you have to remember these are not interchangeable. There are different evidence levels between all of these different routes. And then the third question, who is the man? Because would this fit the labs, the symptoms, the goals, the risks, and the sequence that will follow? Because a 38-year-old man who has acne scarring is not the same as a 50-year-old who listens to a podcast and thinks that GHK copper is the magical potion for tissue recovery. A man trying to improve his skin texture is not the same as a man who's trying to improve poor libido, high stress, and no clear diagnostic therapies. And this is why I'm very careful with peptide content. I'm not anti-peptide at all. I think they definitely have their place when you have your foundation on point, when you know what you're trying to solve for, when you know which bottleneck is actually holding you back. But we have to be honest with ourselves. Just like you've been honest with yourself in many other areas in your life, whether that's with your family or your business, you have to be honest with yourself again when it comes to your health and your body. So the peptide overview guide, which is free, is the first link in the description. You should start there if you want a cleaner filter before you buy, inject, stack, or dismiss any of these peptides. If you already know that the problem is not access to information, it's more strategic, and you want help with the interpretation and the execution, either the Apex group program or working with me one-to-one might be the better solution for you. That's usually for guys who have more money than they have time. If you want any of that and it sounds like it's something you want to hear more about, there will be links in the description for both of those. Just understand, it's not cheap, and it's probably only relevant for a handful of the guys watching this. So here's the answer to the title. People are using GHK copper wrong when they're treating one peptide name like one universal promise. We have to be honest, it's very interesting, and the skin and repair biology is real enough to take seriously. But the mistake is pretending that all routes and all claims are the same, and that they sit under the same evidence umbrella, because that's how optimization turns into guessing. So if you want the shortest route, you should look at the claim, then the route second, and then third, you look at the man. And that order will save you from most peptide mistakes that men will make. If you want to know more about peptides in general, you should watch this video where I break down the thinking pattern behind peptides in general. And that's your BPCs, TB500, MOTC, GLP-1s, and other peptides. That video is going to help you ask the real question by asking which problem you're actually trying to solve.